I'm not actually sure it's possible, to be honest with you. It seems to me as though it's just a natural reaction in women, particularly, more so than men, to the worry that they're not going to get pregnant. Now, it might be that these days women start obsessing sooner rather than later, that they become more obsessed about it earlier than they would maybe 10 or 20 years ago, because when I first started, there wasn't the internet. And people couldn't Google things and go on all these support groups and so on. So, I think now people can just start to Google things, and I think it can get a bit addictive. But I would say even without the internet, women probably have always obsessed, because I think once you begin to think you're not going to have a baby, women will start to obsess, and their thoughts are on it the whole time, because I guess their bodies are cyclical. They have hormones that, they know when they're going to ovulate. Probably they start to get to know when they're ovulating. They start to know when they've got to have sex so that they can try. They then know that 2 weeks are going to pass. Is it working? Am I pregnant? Aren't I pregnant? And so the thoughts are always there. And then, what they call the knicker checking, going to the toilet. Have I started my period? Am I pregnant? Aren't I pregnant? So there are all these, and then women have kind of like little signs in their bodies, little twinges, their boobs hurt a bit or get tender, or they feel all sorts of things, or they can tell when they're going to have a period because they start to get PMT, premenstrual tension, and they start to feel irritated and they get the gripes, and they know. So all the time their bodies are reminding them that they're trying for a baby. So I don't think it's possible to get away from it. I know some women do become extremely obsessed with Googling and researching and, reading. I mean, it can become very, very, very almost dysfunctional, I would say, extreme. And it's almost like addictive behavior. Maybe it's helpful in a little moment to read something, but sometimes it's even more confusing or more distressing or more upsetting or more worrying or more anxiety provoking. So it's a difficult world that women live in at the moment, I have to say, that it almost facilitates obsessing about it. And like anything, you hear about people who are just completely, they're addicted to their phone, or they're addicted to get some games that they play or something. To try to stop doing it is quite hard. And I think you'd need to be a very, very strong person to sort of get off Facebook and stop Googling and just take life as it comes and just go with the flow and trust. I trust that the process is going to unfold as it will, and there's nothing that you can do about it. All of these things are incredibly difficult hard for people to work on, within themselves. So, the question, how do I stop obsessing over getting pregnant? I don't really know. I just think I think it's almost inevitable. And I personally don't ever come across women who say, oh no, I'm not obsessing about it. Oh, I never look on the internet. Oh no, I just go with the flow. Whatever the doctor tells me to do, that's what I do. Maybe they're just the ones that don't need therapy, but most of the people that I talk to are really, really very engrossed in that. And their husbands get worried about them. That's the trouble. They're like, you're always on that computer, you're always on your phone, you're always doing your research. And equally, they get very cross with the husbands, because the husbands are not interested in Googling all the time and being on their phone. And they feel that then they're not engaging and they're not involved, and they, as before, they don't care. And it's not true that they don't care. They're just different. They just truly are. Men do not Google like women. I don't care what anyone says. They just don't. And yeah, how to stop it? Huge amount of willpower if you wanted to.